Alrighty, it is showtime. All the storms they've had in Oklahoma, the surprising tornado they had in Michigan. Now we're getting a little bit of taste of it here where I'm at. And for those of you new to watching on YouTube, that's what we've got. So far. Showtime. I love storms. I got into radio long ago to be a sportscaster because they get into ball games free. I didn't realize that at some point in my life I was going to become fascinated with storms. They had tornadoes go through Oklahoma last night that, as I watched Ryan Hall, y'all, he's the best weather person. I don't care where you live at. If you want the most accurate, up-to-date weather, Ryan Hall, y'all. He's better than your local coverage. I like Jim Cantori, Weather Channel, but you can't top Ryan Hall. But the two towns that were part of the Twister movies, tornadoes went to or through or by or near them, and he pointed that out. That was so cool. Oklahoma was having twisters, and you see some tails hanging down, of course. In the storm, it's traveling here more than it is starting to twirl and swirl. You can see just a little bit of slight motion, but not much. And I'm not a meteorologist, folks. I'm not going to play that game. You know, Jim Cantori was always fun. Now I have Fox Weather because I can't afford the $4.99 for the Weather Channel. Don't donate PayPal and Cash App just for that reason. I'm more likely to get car tires or a divorce. But Jim was the one that I remember watching him like a child. He was out in a snowstorm and he got thunder snow, and he would just drop down and did snow angels like some little kid. It was fun. And of course, Jim's the one out. He's out in the middle of the ocean when, look at this, when, that's interesting because it has the form and shape. So we'll see. The heavens declare the glory of God. I see the stars. I hear the rolling thunder. His power throughout the universe displayed. But he was out in the ocean. And what's so cool about this part here, it's lighter colored. It's got a shape and form of its own, but I'm not calling that a funnel cloud. Those you know when you see them. Okay, a little bit more off to the side here. Distant thunder. We're a few minutes away from the storm actually hitting. I've seen in my lifetime a couple, 3 storms and tornadoes. Now, the nearest I've gotten to some really bad stuff is those lightning thunder moments when they are simultaneous. You see the flash at the same time. You feel and hear the thunder. And you got a few tails over here. I like the coloring. Look at that. So we're going to come around here. This place is solid. It's a brick structure built probably about 90 years ago, I'd say. And you always see, there's always these little tails that look like it could be the beginning of something. Look at the texture of the clouds, the coloring. This is also cool for me. But I'm not a meteorologist. I can read the radar. It's always funny. And I've told people for years, I've seen storms come tracking down I-70 from Columbus. And they get over to Muskingum County and Zanesville, and they're still holding together. And somewhere between Zanesville and New Concord, they're still kind of at it. And then all of a sudden, New Concord to Cambridge, they split. As if Moses is splitting the Red Sea. Well, God did that, but Moses gets the credit. Okay, now. So I'm going to sit down just for a moment here and let it come to me. I'm not a storm chaser. I've always said Doug Allen, storm waiter. And you can see just little tail things, like little appendages, I guess. Oh, my goodness. So let's see what we can come up with here. This is probably my best chance for a storm for a long, long time. The problem is, as I was explaining, storms have been coming down the interstate, okay? They get to New Concord, and somewhere around New Concord to Cambridge, they decide to split north and south. And it's like, really? I'm just noticing at the bottom of this tree, right through this part, some of the bark is peeling. Now that's an old tree, it's leaning. You can see it's got no greenery. This may be much ado about nothing. But here comes the rain. I'm glad I got on the porch when I did. Yeah. Let's see how windy we get. Now the nighttime is great because you can see the lightning and thunder. Well, you can see the lightning and all that better, the light show. No one does a better light show, sorry. But no pyrotechnics, no firework company. But in the daytime, when it comes and it starts sheeting across the road, that's always cool to me. Boy, that smells so good. It's been like spring the last couple of days, up into the 70s. I mean, my gosh, if I had fishing equipment, I probably should have. We've got a grill. I just don't have the charcoal. So, we'll see here. It smells so good. Now there is a possibility, trailing behind this line of storms, which is going from southwest to northeast across Ohio, like the line, because of the cold front that's behind it. There might be some more storms after this. We'll see. Bring rain out here. It keeps telling me I'm live. Well, good. That's the intent. I have to make sure when I post this, I post it for the public, because I've noticed the last couple, 3 lives, of a jingle to that, and this is more traditional. We've got neighbors that have some that sound like a gong. There's one home that has some wind chimes, and they're so pretty. It's almost as if it's choir, kind of a thing. But it's weird. I've never seen or heard wind chimes that do that. You can see the trees are starting to bud. And you see the trees down along that alley had a flat top. Just, that's what I needed over here. That still works me. I trimmed the fence, used the lopper, but those few branches that are sticking up like that, You may get the saw out and just level that off a little bit better. Okay, now the wind is picking up, as you can tell. We're here. It's always interesting with storms that the worst of it always seems to be on the back side of all of this dark gray, ominous kind of sky. I remember going out to Salt Fork several times when the kids were younger. And I remember being out in the water, and here comes these dark clouds rolling in. And you know to get out of the water when it's doing that or about to do that. So we're down at the beach at Salt Fork, and the darkest part's just kind of, and then it's like, and of course it does get darker, the sky gets darker. And then the funny part, as soon as it's on the lighter side of things, it's like kaboom, here we go. So obviously that one people were in a hurry. You know, somebody missed the stop sign. It's not a slow, it's a stop. That means you. Okay, so what looked like a lighter first before they're touching down, and then I remember being at a relative's house, and her house was kind of up on a hill a little bit, and I remember we were out watching, and all of a sudden when the storm was, and all of a sudden you see this funnel cloud. It's like, ooh. And I remember it was much older than junior high age. But we had a storm, and we lived in a modular at the time because we had a home being built. We lived in a modular. And the crazy part about that, we had no basement. I mean, I guess you could go outside, and the foundation, there was a door there you could get underneath, but you know, if that thing caves in, you're gone. You're probably gone if you stay in. And I remember going out onto the front porch with my dad, and we lived out toward the country. We had farms on either side of us where we were at, and I remember looking out, and you could just see with the thunder and the lightning, all this stuff, that, you know, but it didn't come near us. It didn't come nigh our dwelling. So glad my parents were parents of faith. But you know, you got to realize the Bible says it rains on the just and the unjust. The sun shines on the just and on the unjust. So good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. So Sorry, I was getting my eyeglasses out of my eye case, my readers. I don't know if this is going to do much. I really don't think so. But here's the thing, about the time I turn this off and decide to go to Facebook and let's go live, that's when something will happen. Always in that little transition period, but I'll leave this on YouTube and I'll post it back over to Facebook later, but let's see what we can get here live on Facebook. You can join me if you want.